Have you ever wondered what you'd do if you discovered a device that could freeze the entire world around you? Most people would probably dream about becoming rich overnight, getting revenge on their enemies, or pulling off impossible pranks. But for one ordinary teenager, that impossible discovery turns into the most dangerous adventure of his life. Meet Zach Gibbs, a smart but overlooked high school student whose life is anything but exciting. His grades are average, bullies constantly target him, and the girl he likes barely notices him. At home, things aren't much better. His relationship with his father, George, has grown distant over the years, and no matter how hard Zach tries, it feels like nothing he does is ever good enough. Still, Zach refuses to give up. Instead of wasting time after school, he hunts for broken electronics, repairs them using his impressive engineering skills, and sells them online for a profit. Every dollar he earns brings him one step closer to buying the sports car he's always dreamed about. Finally, after months of saving, Zach has enough money. The only thing standing between him and his dream car is one signature from his father. Confident that George will support him, Zach proudly asks him to co-sign the purchase. Instead of encouragement, George shuts the idea down. He tells Zach that buying the car would be irresponsible and insists he think more seriously about his future. To Zach, it feels like another reminder that his father simply doesn't believe in him. The rejection hits even harder when Zach's crush, Francesca, also turns him down the very same day. Frustrated and embarrassed, he returns home convinced that nothing ever goes his way. Before leaving for an important science convention, George makes one last attempt to reconnect with his son. But the conversation goes nowhere, and the two separate without realizing they're about to become connected by a secret that could change the world forever. Far away at a heavily guarded research facility, another story is unfolding. A brilliant scientist named Doppler is being held against his will by a ruthless government contractor named Henry Gates. Years earlier, Doppler had helped develop an incredible technology capable of manipulating time itself. The invention creates something called hypertime. Inside hypertime, the user's molecules move so quickly that the outside world appears almost completely frozen. To anyone using the technology, seconds become hours, allowing them to move freely while everyone else stands perfectly still. It's an unbelievable breakthrough, but it comes with a deadly flaw. Every minute spent inside hypertime rapidly accelerates the user's aging. Doppler himself is living proof. Although he's supposed to be a young man, years of exposure have left him looking decades older. Henry doesn't care about the consequences. He only wants the technology perfected before the government loses patience. Under enormous pressure, Doppler accidentally reveals that before being captured, he secretly mailed one experimental hypertime watch to his former mentor, George Gibbs, hoping his old teacher could solve the aging problem. The moment Henry hears this, he immediately orders his team to recover the watch before anyone else discovers its power. Back at home, Zach unknowingly stumbles onto the mysterious package while looking through his father's belongings. Inside sits an unusual wristwatch unlike anything he's ever seen. Thinking it's simply another strange science project, Zach casually straps it onto his wrist without realizing he's just activated one of the most valuable inventions on Earth. The following day at school, life continues as usual. Zach and his best friend Meeker once again become easy targets for the school bullies. Trying to put the humiliation behind him, Zach approaches Francesca and gathers the courage to ask her out one more time. She explains she already has plans after school. Thinking quickly, Zach jokingly asks if he can become part of those plans instead. Amused by his persistence, Francesca surprisingly agrees. Zach immediately imagines a romantic afternoon. Instead, he ends up helping her rake leaves in her backyard. Although disappointed at first, he throws himself into the work with his usual determination. His creativity and positive attitude impress Francesca, and before long the yard is completely finished. As a reward, she heads inside to prepare iced cappuccinos. While waiting, Zach accidentally presses a hidden function on the strange watch. Everything changes instantly. The wind stops moving, leaves freeze in midair. Birds become motionless, the entire world suddenly stands perfectly still. Confused, Zach cautiously walks around, realizing only he can move. Moments later, Francesca notices something impossible happening around her, as Zach accidentally pulls her into the strange phenomenon. Together, they begin experimenting with the device and slowly uncover its incredible secret. Inside this frozen dimension, time hasn't actually stopped. Instead, they've entered hypertime. To everyone else, not even a second has passed. But for Zach and Francesca, they can spend hours exploring a completely motionless world. Like most teenagers suddenly given unlimited power, they don't exactly make responsible choices. Instead, they spend the afternoon having fun. They quietly embarrass dishonest police officers, teach bicycle thieves unforgettable lessons, and even sabotage the dishonest car salesman who planned to sell Zach's dream vehicle to another buyer. despite his reservation. For the first time in years, Zach feels like luck is finally on his side. That evening, he and Francesca attend a local DJ competition where Meeker is competing. Unfortunately, Meeker's performance is an absolute disaster. Rather than watching their friend lose, Zach and Francesca secretly activate hypertime again. While everyone else remains frozen, they rearrange equipment, fix mistakes, and sabotage the arrogant bullies competing against Meeker. When time resumes, Meeker suddenly delivers the performance of his life without even realizing why everything worked perfectly. The crowd erupts with applause. His rivals are left completely humiliated. The night becomes unforgettable. After everything they've experienced together, Francesca finally sees Zach differently. She kisses him. For the first time, everything in Zach's life finally seems to be falling into place. But that happiness lasts only a few minutes. As Zach arrives home, he notices something impossible. People are moving, even though hypertime is still active. Armed strangers are searching his house as if they belong inside the frozen world. Realizing someone else possesses the same technology, Zach quietly sneaks inside. That's when he finally comes face to face with the mysterious scientist Doppler. Before Zach can understand what's happening, armed agents close in from every direction. Doppler grabs Zach, insisting they have to escape immediately. Neither of them realizes that this desperate escape is about to trigger a deadly chase that will expose the true cost of controlling time itself. Zach and Doppler barely escape the agents pursuing them, but the situation quickly spirals out of control. During the frantic getaway, Doppler finally reveals the truth behind the mysterious watch. He explains that hypertime is an experimental breakthrough, capable of placing its user outside the normal flow of time. The technology is extraordinary, but every second spent inside it dramatically speeds up the user's aging. Doppler's elderly appearance isn't natural at all. It's the price he's paid for using the invention too many times. As the chase continues, Doppler desperately tries to take the watch back, believing it's too dangerous for anyone else to possess. The struggle causes Zach to lose control of the vehicle, sending it crashing violently off the road. During the accident, the watch is damaged, leaving its incredible abilities unreliable. Zach wakes up in a hospital surrounded by worried faces. His mother is relieved he's alive, while detectives immediately begin questioning him about the mysterious crash. He tries to explain hypertime, secret agents, and the strange watch, but without proof, everyone assumes he's either confused or traumatized. When he attempts to activate the watch, nothing happens. Whatever powers it once had seem to be gone. Knowing nobody believes him, Zach searches for help elsewhere. His best friend Meeker offers little more than moral support, so Zach turns to the only person who witnessed the watch's power with her own eyes, Francesca. Unlike everyone else, she trusts him without hesitation. Together, they decide to find George before Henry reaches him. Unfortunately, they're already too late. Henry's team has tracked George to the science convention, capturing him before Zach can arrive. Henry believes George may be the only scientist capable of fixing hypertime's fatal aging flaw, making him far more valuable than Doppler. While searching the convention, Zach and Francesca unexpectedly run into Doppler once again. After another tense confrontation, Doppler discovers the damaged watch and realizes it can still be repaired. Reluctantly setting aside their differences, the three form an uneasy alliance. Repairing the device requires rare scientific components scattered throughout the convention exhibits. While Francesca distracts curious researchers and exhibitors, Zach and Doppler quietly collect everything they need. Hidden away from the crowd, Doppler carefully rebuilds the watch and restores its incredible abilities. But he doesn't stop there. Knowing Henry's soldiers also possess hypertime technology, Doppler modifies several paintball guns using liquid nitrogen. The frozen projectiles can instantly force hypertime users back into normal time, giving Zach and Francesca a fighting chance against trained professionals. The following day, they head toward Henry's heavily guarded research facility. Their plan is simple: enter hypertime, slip past security, rescue George, escape before anyone notices. At the last possible moment, however, Doppler loses his nerve. Haunted by years of fear and captivity, he refuses to continue. Although disappointed, Zach realizes there's no time to argue. Together, he and Francesca press forward alone. Inside hypertime, they silently move through air vents and security corridors, while guards remain frozen around them. For a brief moment, everything goes exactly according to plan. Then alarms begin echoing throughout the entire complex. Henry had anticipated someone attempting a hypertime infiltration and designed the facility with countermeasures specifically for that possibility. Within moments, security teams begin responding. Despite the overwhelming odds, Zach and Francesca fight their way deeper into the building, using their modified paintball weapons to neutralize hypertime users before they can react. Just when victory seems within reach, Henry ambushes them. Zach is captured, his watch is confiscated. George is forced back into the laboratory in order to continue solving Hypertime's fatal side effects, while Zach's life hangs in the balance. Locked inside a specialized Hypertime prison alongside his father, Zach finds himself arguing with George once again. Years of frustration spill out as both blame themselves for everything that's happened. Francesca finally forces them to stop looking backward and focus on surviving. Outside the prison, military forces begin surrounding the facility. Instead of surrendering, Henry activates the entire complex, trapping everyone inside Hypertime itself. If he can't control the technology, he'll make sure no one else can either. Realizing they have only minutes before disaster becomes irreversible, Zach remembers something Henry never considered. Earlier, he secretly switched the real watch with a fake duplicate. The genuine device has been hidden in his pocket all along. Activating it while already inside Hypertime creates an unexpected effect. Zach gains the ability to phase through solid objects. Passing directly through the prison walls, he quietly releases hydrogen gas into the laboratory before slipping back to safety. Henry notices far too late. A single ignition source triggers an enormous explosion that tears through the clean room, destroying much of Henry's operation and eliminating many of his remaining soldiers. George and Francesca survive by taking cover inside the reinforced prison cell. Just as they prepare to escape, Henry emerges from the smoke, battered but still determined to finish what he started. For one terrifying moment, it seems impossible to stop him. Then another familiar face appears. Doppler has returned. Overcoming his fear at last, he fires one of the liquid nitrogen rounds directly at Henry, instantly stripping away his advantage and ending the fight. With Henry defeated, Zach recovers the Hypertime watch and returns the facility to normal time. Military forces immediately secure the building, confiscate every remaining Hypertime device, and arrest Henry along with the surviving members of his organization. The nightmare is finally over. As emergency crews clean up the facility, Zach forgets about secret technology for a moment and turns his attention back to Francesca. When she playfully asks what their next date will be, Zach simply smiles before wrapping her in a hug. Nearby, George thanks Doppler for everything he's done. Before leaving, he jokingly tells his former student not to call him for help with math homework ever again. Still curious about reversing the effects of aging, Doppler secretly activates George's unfinished anti-aging prototype, despite being warned that it hasn't been fully tested. Somehow it works. Later that day, George returns home safely to his relieved family. Moments afterward, Zach arrives driving the sports car he'd dreamed about for so long. His mother rushes outside, overjoyed to see both him and Francesca alive. Then everyone notices one more passenger climbing out of the vehicle. It's Doppler, except now, instead of looking like an old man, he's once again the teenager he was always supposed to be. The family can hardly believe their eyes. As the celebration continues, Zach can't resist taking his dream car for one more drive. Predictably, flashing police lights soon appear behind him. Zach grins. One press of the watch, the world freezes once more. Leaving confused police officers far behind, Zach disappears into the motionless landscape with Francesca beside him, knowing life will never be ordinary again. And with countless mysteries about Hypertime still left unanswered, the adventure feels like it's only just beginning.